So this is a project that we've been working on now for about a year. We've been in stealth mode, just putting the pieces together. We launch in about 4 weeks, which we're very excited about. The information on here is confidential at the moment. By all means, take pictures, but don't share on social media until we launch on April the 20th. So, factory farming is indefensible, we believe, and we feel like there's a real opportunity to build a culture engine, a massive pressure engine that puts significant pressure on the factory farming industry, and that's what we're going to try and do. So I've got about 50 slides, which I'll try and talk through really quickly to give you a bit of an overview. And obviously, we're keen to chat with you afterwards to get any feedback and hopefully your support when we launch. So the other side, the meat industry, has done a really good job in the last few years of creating doubt and seeding misinformation around veganism, around animal rights, around ultra-processed foods. And it feels sometimes like, we're losing the battle. And we feel that, strongly through our project and more generally, we need to fight back, and we need to fight back in a much stronger way. Now, most people already are on our side. They oppose factory farming, but the contradiction is that they're still funding it, and it's very difficult for people to shop their way out of factory farming when it is, everywhere. So how do we unlock that sort of support that they have for ending factory farming, or concern they have around the practices of factory farming, and yet still eating it quite often three times a week? So this is what we're trying to do with this campaign, is to, rather than with veganism, I've been promoting veganism now for the last 15 years, so it's a bit counterintuitive to me, but people are not getting on board, unfortunately, with the vegan message as much as we'd like. There's a lot of opposition to it. But with factory farming, we can meet people where they are. They sort of agree with us. So that's really at the crux of what we're trying to do with this. We commissioned Social Change Lab a couple of months ago, and we interviewed 2,000 people in both the UK and the US. And it was really trying to get an understanding of how much opposition there is to standard factory farming practices. And in almost every single one of them, it was 70%, 80%, 90% disagreement with practices that already exist, that are standard practice within factory farms in the UK and the US. So we just need to get this message across to people that this is what is happening to a higher level than we have as a movement previously. And indeed, in the UK alone, 56% of people actually, when asked the question, would you support a ban on factory farming, they already said yes, they would support a ban on factory farming. We didn't say if the cost of your meat, dairy and eggs doubles in price, but nevertheless, we still feel that there's a real opportunity here. Now, we have been doing a lot of awareness raising, there's been investigations, we've all been working so hard, but quite often our activity dissipates over time. So we feel that what we need is a pressure engine, something that has got continuous and repetitive, creatively strong, narratively strong, that just hits people time and time again, and people start to join the dots up more so than we have so far. And that underlying sort of upset and anger and concern that people have with factory farming, we need to turn that public anger into some sort of change at a faster rate than we have been doing. We're going to launch in London. The reason that we're starting on London is because it is the second most greatest city in the world. You're probably interested in what I think is the first. It's not Manchester. It's Wakefield in West Yorkshire, where I come from. So London yeah, we think it's the perfect test bed as well. It's, as a northerner, it can be frustrating that everything seems to be happening in London, but it's the centre of government and the media and culture. It's the third most visited city on the world, so ideas that start in London are more likely to spread to the rest of the UK and to the rest of the world. So, and we also feel that the ground is softer here compared to other cities around the world. We already have an amazing ecosystem of talented activists. There's years and years of progress that has been made that we just need to harness that to a greater extent. And then if we're successful in London, the idea is that this model will be replicable, and we can take it to Berlin, we can take it to Amsterdam, San Francisco, New York, Mumbai, Sao Paulo, or wherever. So our North Star is always going to be end factory farming. We've bought the URL, endfactoryfarming.com. There's a question I'm going to ask you around, should we put a target on that, maybe 2040, which we can talk about towards the end, and I'm really keen to get feedback on that. It's also important what we're not going to be doing as much as what we are going to be doing. So there's not going to be any vegan identity push with Slingshot. It's not that I don't believe in that, it's what I've been doing for the last 15 years, but this organization is not going to be pushing veganism or really like telling people what to eat so much. It'll be sort of obvious, but we're not going to be making a big deal out of it. And more than anything, we're not going to be getting into culture wars or lifestyle sort of judgments at all. It's focusing on factory farming and saying, look, you are being lied to, and you need to know this, and we're here. This is a public awareness initiative, and you need to know about this stuff because it's bullshit what you're being, what you're seeing. So, and we've got this really clear message: don't buy it. Don't buy the lies, don't buy the greenwashing, the humane washing, the bullshit, the half-truths. But there's a double meaning there. Don't buy it, don't buy factory farming. And we think that we want to really make this like just do it or got milk. It's a message that when people are looking at meat, dairy and eggs in the supermarkets, they've got this don't buy it sort of thought in their heads. Right, so here's our launch video. We've actually got 2 launch videos. But only one of them's ready at the minute. The other one's going to be ready in the next sort of few weeks. So, but it'll give you an idea of the tone, the language that we're going to be presenting once we launch.
Ever get the feeling you're being lied to?
Axis of evil.
That it did not occur to me.
No recollection.
Gaslit? Told that everything's just fine when it very clearly isn't? Same. We all want to make good choices for ourselves and our families, so we reach for the cheerful packaging. Happy animals in green fields, high welfare, trust the tractor. But behind the buzzwords, cartoons and stamps of assurance lies this truth. More than 85% of farmed animals in the UK come from stinking, polluting factory farms. And when our rivers are full of factory farm shit, your Sunday roast comes with a side of antibiotics. Chickens can't stand up, and pigs are being gassed to death. It's time to turn on the lights and expose Big Ag. Because this isn't a few bad apples, it's the whole fucking orchard. And they're feeding us a pack of lies. Don't buy it.
Glad you like it. We're also doing a very similar narrative, and we've got celebrities, so Diane Morgan, Dr. Amir Khan, Jen Brister, all these people that you can see on the screen have already been filmed narrating pretty much the same lines. So we'll have that sort of AI montage version, and then we'll have this separate one with celebrities on board as well. So we have this idea that we're going to run drum beats, and And the idea is every 2 to 3 months, we focus in on a single issue. It's a weak point in the factory farming industry. And the idea is that by focusing in on these particular issues, and then by it being repetitive and running continuously, we get people upset about a single issue, we bring them into our website, but also then we launch other campaigns, and the idea is they all link together, and it becomes obvious that factory farming is the common thread that links all of these issues together. In terms of the narrative hierarchy, then how the don't buy it's going to work is we have a claim that the industry puts out there. Our message is don't buy it, and then there's some sort of satirical debunk that we always deliver. So, for example, they say chickens are healthy and natural, don't buy it. Their claim just doesn't stand up. So I'm now going to talk through these 3 drum beats, but these are just like examples of where we can take this going forward. Everything will be visually, I think, quite stunning. By the way, there was a creative director that I've worked with. He's not here today. He was here yesterday. And he's the best guy that I've ever worked with on creative. But he worked for an agency, so he was working for AstraZeneca and Coca-Cola and all this stuff. And he wasn't vegan. And I just said, look, Dave, you just need to come and work and do something good with your life. And he kept pushing back. And he said, Matthew, I'm celiac. And I'm like, well, you know, there's plenty of vegan celiacs out there. My girlfriend is celiac, and we manage, you know. And he was like, I said, look, what about I just offer you 10,000 more than you're earning? So he's like, done. So he joined us in September. So he's the guy that's the brains behind a lot of the artwork that you're going to see. He's also gone vegan since he joined us. So we're going to anchor the campaign on continuous, always-on advertising on the London Underground. So this artwork that you see here has been approved by TfL. It's got the term gas chambers on, which we thought might be a struggle, but you know, it's a scientific reality that this is what is happening, so they've agreed to it. What we've argued to them is support us on continuous advertising on the Underground because it's not controversial what we're saying. The public agrees with us. This is a public awareness initiative. We're not crazy animal rights activists, even though we are. And they've gone for it. You know, they also need the advertising revenue. So so we're going to be, I really like these tube car panels. The beauty of them is when people are sat on the tube, they're either looking at the phones, they don't want to look at the people opposite because that's weird. So they look up there where the tube car panels are. And there's a dwell time. You know, people do have time to sit and read something. So, you know, we've run them before through Veganuary and other campaigns, and I just think they're the most amazing opportunity to disseminate a point of view to millions of people. I mean, there's 5 million people travel on the London Underground every week. And also, there's a high concentration of really highly influential people, the media, politicians, you know, the people that are ultimately going to end factory farming tend to, a lot of them are on the London Underground. We'll have 48 sheets, 12 sheets, which are the sort of more portrait versions. And then we'll also have the large platform ones as well running. And at the same time as these ones where we focus on the animal on each of our ads, we also then have celebrity ones which are going to be dotted around, which are supporting the point of view. So we've got Diane Morgan here, and she's saying, the meat industry calls gassing pigs humane slaughter. I don't buy it. So this is something that the don't buy it message can be at the individual level. It can be us as a community. We don't buy it. And then, you know, we've looked at, and each of the celebrities have given their own satirical one-liners. So Diane said, I looked up humane in the dictionary, and I have to say, gassing didn't come up. We've got the similar thing on all of the other celebrities as well. You can see how they've all got different stuff. Matt Pritchard, an amazing vegan activist himself, and he's done some stupid stuff in his past. He was like, is it Dirty Sanchez? It was like jackass type thing. That's it, Joe. So I've done some stupid things in my life. Walking into a gas chamber isn't one of them. So it's just trying to get that message across to people that this is incredibly inhumane. We're then thinking, after 4 weeks of the other ad, we then try this angle where the gas becomes more so that people can see that, like, what's happening here. We're still working on this ad. I personally feel that the pig image looks too sedate and happy, and I think we need a little bit more suffering to be seen here. And now we change it more to like the system. The government said it will phase out gas chambers for pigs, which it's committed to in the animal welfare strategy, but it's a consultation period. So this is where they don't buy it. You know, nothing's really going to happen unless we put pressure to do this. This is like how we're setting out the one drumbeat, so the campaign infrastructure and how it lands daily and weekly. And then we would do the same for Franken chickens and chick culling and so on. There's a lot of words on this slide, so I'll skip over it pretty quickly. But the important thing is that what we need to do is bring consumers through to our site really quickly. They want to be like, gas chambers, that's really fucked up. Like, what can I do about this? And then we've got infrastructure where we can direct these people to put pressure into the right places. We have a video that is going to be about 10 minutes long that's really explaining the whole situation of gas chambers. Anybody heard of Sean Monson? He's the guy that directed and produced Earthlings, which many of you probably went vegan watching it. He's the guy that's going to edit this video and produce it and put it out there. We've already interviewed so many people. We've got footage from Joey Carbstrong and others. So this should be a really powerful, like, we bring people from the billboard to our website and they watch this video. But the video could actually be taken onto the streets, like with grassroots activists, We the Free, for example. You know, we'll have shorts that would go onto our social media channels. We've got this idea of stickers, don't buy it stickers. If anybody, you know, we could supply these to the movement, put don't buy it onto pork products. It could be based on certain supermarkets or the suppliers to certain supermarkets that we could choose to be the main targets that we're using. Another slide with lots of text on it, so I'll skip it again quickly, but the point is that we want to, where possible, in the background, partner with other organizations. We feel that our job is just going to be one main thing, which is we put pressure on and we get people upset. Our job's not to negotiate policy commitments or legal strategies, welfare commitments. That's not our job. We just want to get people really pissed off, and then others in this room, hopefully the door opens more and they have more opportunity, because the salience in society around gas chambers, factory farming, Franken chickens is higher, and we're more likely to get the sort of wins that we need as a movement. The website's being built at the moment. It looks beautiful. We've got the celebrities on there. We've got this don't buy it messaging. And then we've got these call to actions built in. So we've got a petition to ban gas chambers. We've got make it easy for people to email their MP, Tesco's CEO, McDonald's CEO. We've got an end factory farming petition that we're going to build, which again I'll talk about afterwards. And then a great way that people can support this is to donate to Slingshot. Like, you know, if you're pissed off about this, then you know, it's £5. All it costs is £5 to put one of those tube car panels up. So that might be an angle that we take, so that we multiply what we're doing. And then we switch to another drumbeat, which could be Franken chickens. So again, same sort of strategy. So I'll skip over these slides pretty quickly, but it's the same logic as the gas chamber one. I really want people to look at that bird and feel empathy and start to think. And if they're seeing it every day that they're on the tube, and starting to join the dots up, that a chicken breast or a chicken nugget is a bird who cannot stand up, I think that that's really powerful. It does more actually than all of the words there. It's just that image that we're sort of creating and trying to get people to think about. Same thing, people come to the site, we try and bring them into this funnel, and then, they might get upset about Franken chickens, and then we start talking about chick culling or the salmon industry or whatever it is. We want to do street outreach, as I mentioned, and stunts. So we could have a giant Franken chicken created. Similar thing, we'll have a video.
We've got chickens that go from egg to the point of slaughter in 5 weeks. We call them Franken chickens, And that is asking too much.
I think it's
of
quite a long
anatomy.
bit of interview here, but the point is that we've interviewed people like Chris Packham and others on this subject as well, so we're already ahead of the game, ready to create a similar 10-minute video about Franken chickens. So the idea is everything's replicable. We just use the same formula time and time again. We could do the same thing with the "Don't Buy It" stickers that could be put onto products. We're thinking they're going to be removable, so that the industry's not saying, you food waste, you're ruining, we can't sell this anymore. Could put QR codes on there where it brings people through to our website so they can find out what the hell we're talking about. And then we want to do, we're putting quite a bit of budget into direct marketing. So we want people in London to see the ads, but then they see it in their feed on social media, or they see it on the websites that they're going to. So we're working with Plant-Based News to target like the 1% lookalike audiences, that the ones that are most like us. And then we're also going to be trying to get our ads on things like The Grocer, which is where the food industry is looking. So we can put, the idea is that hopefully the people that are most influential, that are actually going to end factory farming, are starting to see our advertising more than the average person, so that they think that the salience of factory farming is at a higher level than it actually is in society, so that we can hack the system and trick them into actually doing things. So that's, again, part of the strategy. I have this thing that I keep talking to our team about, is if there's 68 million people in the country, there's probably 10,000 of that 68 million that are the ones that are actually going to end factory farming. So how do we really make it that they keep seeing what we're doing, more so than everybody else? Working with the Open Pause team to identify who those 10,000 people are, each individual, and then we'll figure out how we can make sure that they're seeing Slingshot more than everybody else. We're talking to the Led by Donkeys projections on walls team to think about how can we do projections of stunts, if you like, that we can get media around. So one idea is that we film above a broiler farm and then project that onto KFC or whatever. With the gas chamber one as well, we're already talking to them about could we project gas chambers onto somewhere like Buckingham Palace and ask the question, does the king know about this? Our social media feed is going to look beautiful. These are just some screenshots of what it could look like. Similar thing, working with partners in the background to create pressure. And then we move on to chick culling potentially as the next drumbeat. Same thing, different stunts potentially that we would do here. We have this idea that the gassing of male chicks has never been filmed, to my knowledge, in the UK. So one idea is that we put out some news that we're offering £45,000 for anybody that works in a hatchery to actually film this footage. The reason why we put it as £45,000, that is the average salary of a sexer. These people that look whether they're male or female. And there's also 45 million male chicks that are gassed to death in the UK every year as well. So that's one potential stunt that we will try and get out there to raise awareness of this issue. And, you know, we're open-minded about what are the other weak points. You know, like we could do antibiotics as a focus area. The salmon industry, we think that this is quite visually interesting, that salmon has this halo over it as like this health food. There's a lot of people that are not vegan or vegetarian, but they're still eating fish. What do you call them? Pescatarians. So how do we target pescatarians to stop eating salmon? Well, you know, it would be grey if it wasn't for the fact that the industry's putting this feed colorant into the food, or these additives. And it's just to try and create like concern or disgust, or really get people thinking differently about it. Now, we're an abolitionist organisation. At heart, we will be putting out messages that are not offering solutions. We're not going to be talking about, you know, Franken chickens is a problem, better chicken commitment is the solution. We're not going to be saying that. We're going to be asking the questions. We're going to be saying, like, did you know about this? You know, chickens cannot stand up. Like, ask Tesco's, why are they selling chickens that can't stand up? That's our thing. We just need to create that anger and upset in society. But what that might do is open up the doorways for other organisations that might want to go in and get better welfare standards for animals. It opens up that door of opportunity, but we want to stay in our lane, which is purely as a broadly abolitionist framing. This is our website, which is nearly finished. This is sort of a visual of it. We've spent months working on it. Hopefully you agree it looks sort of visually professional. It's going to be like a one-stop shop for everything related to factory farming and the deception that exists. So we've got this Hall of Shame section where we're calling out Hook Two Sisters, Avara, Cranswick. There's like Wikipedia pages basically which show all of the investigations on each of those companies and why you really shouldn't be trusting these companies. One thing that we found from our research was that people don't know the companies like Cranswick and Hook Two Sisters. They've never heard of them. Well, they should. You know, people should know about these companies because they're real bad guys, and that's what we want to really get across to people. We've got a section called Wikipedia, and we're listing all of the worst practices. So people might come to our site upset about gas chambers, and then they find out about pig thumping, and then they find out about the salmon industry or antibiotics, so they start joining the dots up. And then we're also looking at labels. So what does Red Tractor really mean? What does 100% British really mean? What does trusted farmers really mean? So we're just explaining all of this to people. Everything's been built in such a way that it will be mobile first, so it's going to look visually right, because we're hoping that people are going to see our advertising on the underground or in the social feeds, and it needs to work for that. I mentioned Open Pause a couple of times, but they're going to be working, already are working with us to build tools so that we can be really ahead of the game in terms of using AI. Here's some of the areas that they're helping us. We've got an M&E dashboard that's looking at a whole range of different KPIs so that we understand, you know, are we actually making a difference in society? Are people starting to talk about Franken chickens more? As an example, I get an op-ed email drafter now, so every morning I get an email that comes that identifies an opportunity. You know, maybe there's an article about bird flu, and I get an email that I could send a letter to the editor of that newspaper and put them right about something on it. So this is really clever stuff. We have some celebrities that I showed you, like Diane Morgan and Simon Amstell's joined with us, and others, Dr. Amir Khan. But we want to go like proper A-list. So we're in conversations with Paul McCartney's team at the moment. I'm very hopeful that we will be able to get Paul McCartney on board. One of the beauties of it being an anti-factory farming campaign is it doesn't have to be vegans anymore. This can be like, you know, actually it might be better to get non-vegans like joining us and talking about factory farming. So we're hopeful that once we get up and running and people see the momentum behind the campaign, that we can start targeting bigger names. We have merchandise that I mentioned earlier. Joe over here will be able to help you with it. I don't think we've got enough for everybody in the room, so it might be on a first come, first served basis. But over time, we were going to be selling the merchandise on the website as well. Everybody seems to like this one here, ABCDE, fuck factory farming, as an overall message. This is our timeline. So we're still technically in this stealth mode phase, talking to people, just sharing little bits of information. We launch on April the 20th. That's when the ads will start rolling out onto the underground, and that's when we'll start really actively promoting the gas chamber campaign and the launch of Slingshot itself. And then hopefully Franken Chicken's chick culling would be the next 2 drum beats after the gas chamber one. My hope is that we start layering the campaigns on each other. It's not that we stop talking about gas chambers. You know, the idea is that we would like build and build and build and build so that we're still keeping updates on, you know, to join the dots up on the whole thing. I've just been told there's 2 minutes left. We're going to fundraise like crazy. If there's any billionaires in the room, myself and Vishwar are here to take your money off you so that we can really scale this up. But if you know any billionaires, or just anybody actually with any sort of money, then come and speak to us because we think that this is going to be very, very scalable. A lot of organizations are restricted on really how much they can scale their organizations. Well, I would love a 100 million budget for this and really start attacking factory farming globally rather than just looking at London as a pilot scheme. We're going to put on our website that we want to end factory farming by 2040. We've worked on a roadmap strategy document that's built in to hypothetically what would need to happen for us to end factory farming. I would love views on everybody as to whether or not it could become more of a movement-wide strategy that we all get behind. There's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If everyone starts rattling on about 2040 ending it, then it's more likely it's going to happen than if we don't. So yeah, this is just sort of early stage thinking, but we're going to put it on our website because we just think that people are going to say, end factory farming. Well, when? How? How are you going to do it? Well, we feel like we need to have a bit of clarity around that. But we're also not losing focus on this year. So we want to make 2026 a really bad year for these companies and anybody associated with factory farming. Thank you.